All right, part 2. As I was saying, with you being a Heartless deck, you have to play the Cerberus, in my opinion. Because you're going to be pumping things like this out, where Cloud exists. And your opponent's going to play Cloud to kill this. Easily. Immediately going to be playing a Cloud to kill this.
It's true.
But then when you play Cerberus, if your opponent has the Cloud dies. That's what Cerberus does.
But just look at the artwork on that card. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful images outside of Dragon Maleficent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's gorgeous looking as a card. When they printed this, I picked this up as fast as I could. I think I own 2 or 3 of it right now.
Last year, I picked up 4 of those off of a guy who had bought a bunch of cards from like a liquidator or something. And so I went ahead and I had 4 of my own, then I have 4 more, and it's just because I use it, I run it in every single deck.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
It's just for the fact that it is a Cloud killer. One, your opponent has to have 3 to battle it. So no matter what they play against it, your opponent has to play 3 to go even to initiate the battle against this card.
Can I use that exact comment just as a quick plug? Cerberus here, combined with Monstro, mwah, thing of beauty.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, that's so stupid. I hate that.
Goodbye, bench, entirely.
Yeah, if you have Monstro as your world, and you play Cerberus on your opponent's world, your opponent loses their bench. Because Monstro level 1 states that neither player can have more than 3 friend cards in their friend area at a time. It's so stupid. I love it.
It's wonderful.
I love it and I hate it. I play the...
It's a great way to suck in a Sephiroth as well, because then they don't have a choice.
Oh, right. They have no choice.
He doesn't come back if you fight a Heartless.
Yeah, because that's considered the battle, not your challenge. I play the 1 Hydra because it doesn't go on your opponent's world for the fact of fearing a Phil. Fearing a Phil or Hercules because his POW goes down like crazy at that point, and he's so killable. But the fact that you can put him in your friend area, and he's an auto 12, is what's nuts.
Yeah, again with him, he's just very high level, so you have to make sure that you get up there.
Yeah. If I dropped him, it would only be the fact to play a 3rd one of these. Because Parasite Cage is dumb.
So this card right here, for the people that don't know, when you play it either on your bench or on your opponent's world, you basically get to snag somebody off of the opponent's
friend area
and have him stuck inside the cage. For anyone who's played the video game, that's how the character worked as a boss.
Right.
But the thing with this card was actually the reason that Dark Riku came under a lot of fire about rulings, because people were wondering, well, wait a minute, if you drop a Parasite Cage in your own friend area, there's almost no way for your opponent to ever try to get the character back that you've stolen.
Right.
So unless you're stupid enough to use the Parasite Cage later as part of an attack or a challenge or whatever, then they're basically just losing that character for the rest of the game. So that's one of the things that made this so broken. But again, Parasite Cage is level 7. If your opponent's able to rush you or control the amount of cards you have on your friend area, it can be very hard to get to, but my goodness, when that thing hits the field, it's tough.
Well, here's my thing, is you were saying that even if you use this, if you were stupid enough to use it in a challenge, the thing about this is it says this card has to be defeated for your opponent to get their friend back. If this card is used in a battle or a challenge, even if you lose, it's not defeated. Your player card is defeated.
Right, that's a good point.
Even if that's why I like this card, is because you snag up Clouds and Sephiroths all day long with this card, and then use it in a challenge, your opponent immediately just lost their Sephiroth.
That's a good point.
So he has to be defeated for your opponent to get their card back. But
I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's so stupid. It's so stupid good. I love it. That's why this card is... That's like I said, if I dropped this card, it would be for a 3rd Parasite Cage, and I've thought about doing it multiple times. Because it is that good of a card.
Alright, dude, when are you gonna get to the money card?
4 cards from now? 3 cards from now? I play the 1 Jafar Genie just for the fact it's a really good card. But in all honesty, I'm probably gonna drop it to play a 2nd one of the Hades. because Hades is better against Hercules decks.
Well, and I don't remember, I don't have Jafar Genie in front of me, but isn't there some limitation about how you can play that? Like, don't you have to have Jafar in play?
No. If a Jafar Genie or Jafar card on your opponent's world is defeated, you may place this card from your hand onto that world, ignoring its dark limit and the level of this card. This does not count as a play. So you can play this still normally, but it has that additional feature of Jafar becomes a genie, where you can play it off if your Jafar dies. That way you're stopping your opponent from moving for the turn.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm probably going to take it out for a second Hades, just it is better. One Oogie Boogie, like I showed earlier, it's there. It's awesome. I love the card. I mean, you being able to just go lock and then Oogie Boogie is really good. And here's the money card.
Thank you.
Dragon Maleficent.
Let me just pause right here and do a completely shameless self-promotion plug here. Anybody wants to get rid of Dragon Maleficent, please hit me up. Whatever you're looking for, I have a lot of cards, but I love the artwork on that card, and I think I only have one, and then like a Japanese one that I got from somebody, which I can't read what it even says, but whatever. It's still gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous looking card. So yeah, that's one of the things that he and I are going to be doing in these collaborations, is if you guys have cards you're looking to get rid of, definitely go to his channel. He's going to probably post his email in several of the different videos he's going to do. That way he can start trades with you guys. I have some cards I can get rid of, but problem is my resources after moving multiple times got really limited because a lot of stuff went missing. Just got lost in moves and things like that. I at one point owned two to three copies of the King. I owned 3 Dragon Maleficent. My resources got really limited after losing a bunch of stuff in moves, so it really sucked. So
yeah, so help us help each other.
So, Dragon Maleficent, 1, it's gorgeous. 2, its POW is really not that great. Even as a friend card, it becomes a 10 on POW for support value. It's just a really gorgeous card, and if you're gonna play Dark Heartless, you technically want to play it, but you don't. It comes down to player preference of do you want it in your deck. I personally do because I love the art on it. I think Dragon Maleficent's a gorgeous looking card.
Well, the other thing to point out, oh, don't do that to me, that's such a pretty card. The other thing to point out, though, is you can ditch cards from your hand to decrease the level, and so it's something like this Dark Riku deck, that's really important because you're able then to play such a high-level card, which then opens up all the levels below it, and then you can just dump your whole hand.
Right. So the fact of the matter that she comes into play, like if you have a hand of 6, you drop all 5 other cards, she becomes a 4. And if your math is done right, and you have 2 to 3 of these in play at the same time, she's a level 1.
Yeah, it can get tricky real fast.
So that's one of the things when I say you have to level manipulate right. He said he didn't want me to. He said not to show it off in front of the camera.
I'm the one that said you should do that.
Really weird noise
know what
they're
those
making,
cards are.
Jerry.
We'll explain them later.
Yeah. Yeah. These cards are gorgeous.
Don't think I know.
You're lucky you can't see my screen on this video, folks.
He's so salty about the King and the Awakening.
I'm glad somebody who appreciates them found them.
Right. I just play a couple of magic cards. I play 2 fire and the 1 cure. Like, I know you guys have seen this deck profile. We're basically breaking it down because he and I both love the deck, and there's been a lot of people requesting it broken down even more to its basis level of what I showed it to. So that's, he and I are both, we've played this game for years, so having both of us basically break the deck down of what it can do is one thing I really have wanted to do, and that's what we're going to be doing a lot more on decks for mine and his videos. We're going to be doing a lot of collaboration videos. Which one are you going to be doing first? Or were you going to be doing the Ansem, or were you going to be doing Axel? Because Axel is one of those decks I never got to finish.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do both. And looking at my own Dark Riku deck, I can see that I didn't put nearly as much thought into it as I should, but I've gotten requests from people for somebody to do an Ansem deck and somebody to do an Axel deck, so I'll do whatever half-assed version I have and put it up there, and people can talk about how we can change it and that sort of thing.
Right. So I played the 2 fire and the 1 cure just for, since I can play magic, I can play up to 2 levels worth of magic off my Dark Riku. I play just that for these for Heartless, just in case my opponent drops something low level that I can't get over just for the heck of it, and to decrease, and cure, just let's get 6 HP even higher. 2 End of the World. End of the World states that I can play my opponent. Oh god, if I can remember how this card is worded. Your opponent may place dark and nobody cards of any level on this world. So my opponent can play up to 3 dark or nobody cards on this world of any level. So they could technically drop 3 Dragon Maleficent on this world if they really wanted to, which would suck. That'd be fun to get over, wouldn't it?
No.
60? Yeah, 60? No.
Another thing to be wary of with this card is that there are HP manipulating dark cards where if you're planning on just trying to destroy your opponent with Riku and Soul Eater, if somebody drops one of those, that I think it's one of the pirates where if it stays on your world at the end of your turn, you lose an HP.
Oh, you're thinking of Wyvern.
Oh, Wyvern.
It's it's the level 8 that says if it's still on your world by the end of your turn, you take a heart point.
Right, and most people think, oh, when am I ever going to get to play a level 8? Well, guess what? You just dropped End of the World on turn 1, and now they can play it whenever they draw it.
Right, they can play it freely because they feel like it.
Yep.
But the nice thing about End of the World is any Heartless you play that's level 3 or lower automatically becomes a level 1 when it's being put into play. So this card plus Bit Sniper becomes amazing because at that point you don't have to discard as many resources off the Bit Sniper. You only have to discard 1 to make Bit Sniper even better.
Yep. And then you're already at level 4 relatively easily. And as we talked about before, higher level dark cards are kind of the advantage and the bane of this deck because they do great things, but they're hard to get out.
Correct. Yeah, they're nuts. I play 2 Atlantica just for the fact of how many you play. Like I said, you can discard a couple level 1s like nothing, and most of the time I hold Atlantica level 3, even if it's my only world until late game, just for the fact that I'm not going to get rid of my level 1s that quick on the game. Like, why would I play 2 level 1s immediately just to get rid of them, and then I've got no backup in my friend area?
Yeah, this is one card where Vamp and I disagree. I would try and find a different level 3. I don't have enough stuff in front of me right now to make a definitive choice, but for me, for my style, I think that one wouldn't necessarily work, especially with this deck, just because, like I said, you don't want to get caught with some of your lower level stuff getting blasted.
Right. I personally, the only reason I did them is because it's one of the lowest, other than a couple other, like, it's one of the lower costing level 3 worlds. It's like I wouldn't play a level 3 Agrabah because it's like we said off the End of the World. With Agrabah level 3, your opponent can play any level dark card or nobody and as many of them on your world as they want.
Yeah, for those of you thinking at home, don't do that.
Do not play Agrabah level 3 except in Aladdin, because in Aladdin you don't care. Like, you really don't. If I change these just for the fact that... Do what?
I'll have to take your word for that. That still sounds like a bad idea.
The only reason you do it is for the fact that, one, if you play the Wishing Lamp, you get the free draw. Or some of the cards in the deck, it says you have to play the world to be able to play it.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, good point.
If I change the Atlanticas out, it would be for 2 more Hollow Bastion, because Hollow Bastion is the lowest costing level 3 world in the entire game. All it does is it gives
your opponent to 3 dark cards. Like, you could do something like Traverse Town level 3, but then you've got to worry about that. I think they could put like 9 dark cards. You don't want them doing that either.
Well, Hollow Bastion just states the fact that so they made cards easier to read, like Halloween Town when they brought Break of Dawn out, where its level adds to the total, and then it shows over here how many Heartless your opponent can play. But in the earlier ones, it was here and then down here of how many your opponent could play. So this was a level 3 with a limit of 3.
Right.
Where that, like I said, it's the lowest costing because all it does is Hollow Bastion just says you get -2 attack value when you're fighting dark cards on it. And then Traverse Town, honestly, I might change out the Traverse Town as well, because Traverse Town honestly makes it where Stealth Sneak can kill me harder, because it gives a +1 POW to any Heartless that's on it.
That's right. Earlier when I said Traverse Town level 3, I meant Twilight Town level 3.
Gotcha. The easier one.
That's where I should go. Sorry about that.
Gotcha. I was curious what you meant. I was like, 9? What? But yeah, Traverse Town gives a +1, meaning Stealth Sneaks would be a 2 POW. So that becomes the problem is Stealth Sneak gets bad if they play it on a Traverse Town, because at that point you have to have both of your Creeper plant.
Right.
And then the last world is just an easy world. It's Halloween Town. You discard a random card, which at that point is a really low cost. So personally, in my opinion, like, the best cards in this deck are right here. Like, and this is my opinion, like, I think these are the utmost needed, well, these 4 are the utmost needed cards in the Dark deck overall. Black Fungus, Bit Sniper, Aqua Tank, and Parasite Cage.
So, Vamp, one thing I want to point out real quick here, did we skip over any actual attack cards aside from the Soul Eater?
No, I just played the 3 Soul Eater.
So, you do realize that I'm reading the Dark Riku right now, that you can actually run Ultima Weapon, Oblivion, Divine Rose, any of that other stuff that you want to use to try and do power manipulation. I don't know that you really have space in a deck like this, but let's say you were to eliminate the World Racer portion of it.
Right.
You could then maybe swap out those 2 fires for 2 more Cura, so then you have 3 ways of gaining health.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could replace a lot of those world cards with things like Ultima Weapon, Oblivion, you know, a couple of other random little things that might prove useful, right? And then instead of world racing, you can just basically try to pummel the daylights out of it.
Oh yeah, at that point it becomes pure aggro, and I completely agree. That's another way you could take this deck very easily, is just pure aggro, where you basically drop all of the worlds except you'd still play 3 of the level 2 end of the world for the fact of level manipulation, and then fires would go away for 2 more cure, and all of these would just become attack cards. So like Oblivion, Ultima Weapon, Oathkeepers, or Divine Roses. I mean, it becomes really simple at that point.
Yep.
So I just like the Jack of all trades in this version because I think it's more fun. But then again, I like Jack of all trades.
Yeah, and it keeps your opponent off balance, because then you can do both things. If they spend all of their resources trying to defend themselves, then you can also world race at the same time and see if you can catch them not paying attention. You know, there's a lot of things to be said. The concern that I always had about Jack of all trades decks were that they're a little bit more diluted, so you're able to do both, but you're not so focused that you excel at either. Like, you can do them well, but you can't do them as well as a deck that's solely intended for that one purpose, right? Either racing or aggro. So, you know, again, if your playstyle fits that and you're able to think far enough ahead with this deck, it can be really fun. But like you said, Vamp, it's one of those where sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming and it is a difficult deck to play. So if you just want something more simplified, you probably should look for something different. Right.
Yeah, this is, in all honesty, in my opinion, this is probably the most complex thought of deck when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts TCG. Just for the fact of how complex it truly really is.
Agreed.
It really, I feel like it is the most complex deck to play, to play with, to learn, 2, to even play against, because you have to make sure you're reading what your opponent's doing to make sure they're doing it right.
Right.
So that's my opinion of the deck, is that it really is complex, and that was one reason I really looked into wanting to play it, is I wanted something more complex to enjoy and play with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and there are a couple of different formats in the deck that are, or in the game that are like this, right? Dark Riku is one, playing Roxas is another, playing any of the, what is it, I think it's Organization.
Yeah, the Organization 13, like Zaldin and Axel. Sadly, those were the only 2 we got printed in America.
Yeah, those are difficult to play. They have some fun features. They're entertaining. Like, if you ever played Pokemon, almost like a league deck, like something you just try out with your friends. But at any sort of a major tournament, I don't think they're competitive enough to really hang with some of the super expensive, very focused decks, like the aggro control deck that you built, and you did a video on, and then some of the other ones that we'll talk about eventually, same thing.
Right. But yeah, it's a very fun deck. It's very complex, but yeah, it's if you want something more simplified, don't look at Heartless, don't look at Dark Riku. It's a very, very complex deck, and that's why I like it personally. Is it something more? It gave me something more to look into myself.
Yep. All right. Well, it's from the timer on my side. It looks like we're starting to get close to that 25-minute mark again. So
are we really?
Maybe we should wrap up here, and then, like I said, the 2 deck reviews that I will do will be significantly shorter than this. But it'll just be a couple of fun decks, because it's just to get them out there so people have a list to look at, and hopefully those will be a little bit easier for people to put together. This deck is quite difficult because a lot of these Heartless are rare.
Yeah.
A lot of good ones are from Light and Darkness.
Well, the thing I have to really point out, and I feel bad that they did it, is as much as an uncommon as Black Fungus is, it was a short print uncommon.
I hate when they do that, but yeah,
Black Fungus is an uncommon. The 3 that I have in my deck right now, I opened probably 6 or 7, maybe 8 boxes worth of Light and Darkness. These are the only 3 I ever pulled from those packs.
Crazy.
So that's one of the things when he's talking about it's a harder deck to build. It's a very hard deck to build. And like we were talking about, it's I know we're going to wrap up here in a quick second, but the fact of the matter, we're talking about it's a hard deck to put together and even harder to make sure you maintain, and it's very complex to learn. The Saix deck for Japan, with how you have to manipulate your counters.
Oh god, yeah. I'm kind of glad that card never hit English, because that would have been a nightmare.
It's such a good card, like Saix to Saix Berserk form. Like, I would have built that deck in a heartbeat if I could have gotten the stuff for it. If I could even get the stuff now. But I think you even said you personally own maybe, one of the Saix Berserk form?
Correct.
Yeah, so I would love to...
I didn't know what it was when I got it. I was looking at it and I was like, what is this?
So, alright guys, well, I hope you guys enjoyed our first collaboration. I'll have a link to his channel in the description and somewhere along here, probably just like right in this little tiny area between these cards. Kyle, what did you do with my cards?
Is it time to make cupcakes now?
Well, on that note, thanks everybody. I appreciate being part of the video. And hopefully we'll bring you some stuff you guys are interested to see.
Alright, well, we will catch you guys later. Have a good one. Peace, guys.